Welcome to the Wellness Abundance Podcast. I'm Melissa King, your podcast host, certified master health coach, certified personal trainer, and founder of Wellness Abundance Coaching. The purpose of this podcast is to share healthy lifestyle tips to empower you to design the abundant life you want and deserve. I'll chat with inspiring people who have built a strong foundation to build a life they love. I believe we all have the power within ourselves to create wellness abundance in all areas of our life. We simply need to find the courage within ourselves to take action. Our vision for this podcast is to help you create wellness abundance in your life with clarity, empowerment, and flexibility. Grab your favorite beverage and enjoy the episode. I'm super excited to welcome my guest on today's episode, Cindy O'Donnell. Cindy is a certified hypnotherapist who can help you use your mind to create the life you want to live. While it's important to be aware of the obstacles that are holding you back, it's also equally important to learn how to let go of what's holding you back so you can move on. I learned so much during this conversation with Cindy about how hypnotherapy can help you in several areas of your life, including weight loss. Enjoy Cindy and I's conversation about how you can utilize your mind more efficiently. Awesome. Well, welcome. I'm super excited that you are here today. Welcome to the Wellness Abundance Coaching Podcast. I have a fabulous guest today, Cindy O'Donnell. She is a hypnotherapist, so I'm going to just dive right in and let Cindy share a little bit about herself, her background, how she got into hypnotherapy, and whatever else you would like to share, Cindy. So welcome.
Oh, thank you, Melissa. I'm so happy to be joining you on your podcast. It's very exciting. Well, I am Cindy O'Donnell, and I am a certified hypnotherapist, and I can help you discover what your mind can achieve when you choose to guide your subconscious. I've trained in hypnotherapy at the Hypnosis Motivation Institute over in Tarzana, and I'm certified in a wide variety of different areas, but I think for the most part, the important thing to know about hypnotherapy is it is a partnership that you develop with your hypnotherapist who helps you determine what you would like to experience as opposed to focusing on what you're ready to let go of so that you can make the changes that you're ready to make in your life, whatever those may be.
Great. I love that you use the word partnership when sharing like what it's like to, work with a hypnotherapist, because I know that I get asked a lot as a health and fitness coach, like from a fitness coach, yes, I'll program workouts for you, but from a health coach, people always ask me, are you going to tell me what to do? Like, are you just going to tell me what to do and I'm going to do it? Are you going to tell me what to eat? Because I need someone to tell me what to do. When the reality is, like having a partnership, you're creating a partnership as a foundation when you're working with a health and fitness professional is, I believe, more powerful and effective.
Yeah, that really makes a huge difference. I mean, on a rare occasion, you'll get somebody who just wants something erased from their experience. They just don't want to do something anymore, and they'll come in thinking that you can magically make things happen for them. But in reality, what we're doing is we're helping people learn how to relax and enter just a natural focus state. Let go of the things that they don't want to experience. And then based on the discussions that we have before we go into hypnosis, the client will tell me what they do want to experience instead. And the really interesting thing is that most people know the ins and outs and every minute detail and possible cause of the thing that is the obstacle to their happiness or their life success.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't really stopped and thought in any kind of detail about what they want to experience instead. Maybe they know they want to quit feeling anxious, or they want to have a healthy lifestyle, but they don't really know what that would look like. Really, what that healthy lifestyle would look like, what their relationships would look like, whatever it is that they're encountering obstacles. It's really kind of an important thing to sit down and really think about where you want to go. It's great to say that you want to make these changes, but most people really don't know the details. So first we'll really talk about like what you want to let go of. Are you ready to let go of it? And what you want to experience instead, and why that would be good for you, what that would look like, feel like, both physically and emotionally, so that you get a real clear picture, a real clear mental picture of what you do want to experience. And then when someone is in hypnosis, we help them to just relax into this very natural state. And the critical mind opens up and allows them to release what they don't want to experience and embrace what they do want to experience. So you can, work on these things alone, but here's where hypnotherapy really makes a difference. All through your life, from the day you were born, you're taking in new information every day. You're learning new things. You're learning what you like, what you don't like. You're learning how to tie your shoes. You're learning your ABCs. You're learning how to handle people, deal with your parents and the people around you. And you're building your view of the world and your view of yourself. And your subconscious is designed to take that information from your conscious mind. So as you drift off to sleep every night, you go through a stage of natural hypnosis, and you actually go through stages of natural hypnosis throughout the day. But as you drift off to sleep at night, everything that you took in during the day and all the decisions you made about it, everything you learned, everything you felt emotionally, that all flows down into your subconscious. And then at night, while you're asleep, you go through 3 stages of dreaming. And the first stage, you're processing everything and relating it to whatever you already knew to be true. The second stage of dreaming, you're using it to predict the future, how to make it happen. And the third stage of dreaming, you're venting out what doesn't serve you and letting it go. So what happens is, if you've made the decision during the day that something is difficult for you, right? That is the feeling, the emotion, the experience that flows into your subconscious. Your subconscious doesn't know good from bad or right from wrong. It only knows what you're teaching it. So here we are, we're inadvertently teaching our subconscious the very thing that we don't want to experience. And then we do that over and over again, reinforcing it. Your subconscious is all about maintaining the status quo and the experience that it has learned from you through these natural stages of hypnosis, and making sure that it puts them into your automatic pilot. That's great, because you don't want to have to relearn to drive every day.
Right.
Right.
I don't.
Exactly. You don't want to relearn how to do your job or, pay your bills, any of those things, how to cook dinner, wash dishes. So you can do all of those things now without even really thinking about them, because when you learn them, they flowed from your conscious mind through a natural state of hypnosis into your subconscious and became part of your automatic routine. So your subconscious is an amazing tool, and it can do amazing things for you. But we sort of program it a little bit haphazardly. So that's where hypnosis can help you back it up a little bit and let go of those things that have been bothering you, that have sort of grown into this automatic routine you have, whether it's emotionally, behavior-wise, or your view of the world or yourself. Let that go, and then embrace what you do want to experience instead.
Yeah, and I personally love the idea of hypnosis and the whole process, because I'm a big I learned this like years and years ago, like the power of your subconscious. And I also, what I love about what you do, Cindy, is that you focus on like what's the problem you're having, what's the root cause of that problem, like where did it come from? And then I also really like that you mentioned like are you ready to let it go? Because not everyone is ready to let these things from their childhood that are holding them back from, achieving XYZ goals or just living a better life or the life that they want. They're not ready to let it go. And so I guess my next question now, just saying all those words right now out loud, is what what's your process when somebody is not ready to let go?
That is a really good question. And a lot of times people don't realize they're not ready to let it go. And
Hmm.
so we'll spend some time in hypnosis, um, just exploring what it is about this that may have value to you. Can you give yourself permission to let it go?
Hmm.
There can be any number of things behind that. In hypnosis, we use a lot of metaphors and storytelling, and we can use that to help sort of draw out from your subconscious why it is you won't let it go.
Hmm.
So people may struggle to let go of smoking because maybe they see it as the crutch that they need to get through whatever is going on in their life that's stressful for them. And sometimes in those kind of situations, we find that people just haven't learned how to relax.
Mm.
So that's a big part of what we'll do first. Really, the first session for some people is the first time they really relax, or they really are able to get that anxiety down to a comfortable level. And then it can be other things as well. There's all kinds of secondary gains
Hmm.
from different situations that people talking about smoking again, I know someone told me a story that someone couldn't quit smoking, and it kind of came down to the smell of the cigarettes reminded them of their father.
Mm.
And then once they sort of came to terms with it wasn't their father, they can remember him in other ways, then it was easier for them to let it go.
Yeah, I'm really happy that you brought that up, because that's a good, um, that's a really, really good point about, someone, the cigarette smoke, not, they don't necessarily want to smoke, but it's just that the scent of the smoke, the cigarette smoke, gives them a good memory,
Right,
it's
right.
from their childhood.
There's
Yeah.
all kinds of these aspects to different experiences that people are attached to that they don't realize they're attached to.
Hmm.
With diet and exercise, a lot of people think they're too busy. They don't want to give themselves permission to, what they see as, invest in themselves,
Hmm.
to care about themselves. So then we'll focus on things like, if you talk, maybe career wise, they're too busy and they're putting their business first. That's a really big one. But when you
Hmm.
come right down to it, there's all kinds of stories about people who are highly successful in their business at some point realizing that their health was the key to everything. And if you don't have your health, you don't have
Yep.
anything, but you also don't have the resources you need to run that business. If you are not in good health, you cannot run your business the way you'd like to run it. Um, there's all kinds of
Yeah.
things, like food is love, and sharing
Hmm.
that meal, and what you cook for your family. There's so many different aspects of it, but once they understand why they don't want to let go of it, then we can look for other ways to, meet that need or share the love that they want to feel in a way that's healthier for them, that helps them better meet their needs.
Yeah, yeah, and uh, yeah, I think that's great. I love that. I actually had a client, a health coaching client, about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and he really wanted to experiment with keto eating style. So going super, super low carb. He had read about, you know, some of the potential health benefits from it. And he was a big man and had a lot of weight to lose, and he wanted to experiment with it. But he said, Melissa, I can't let go of the bread. I just can't let go of the bread, but I know, but I want to, but I just can't do it. And so I will always remember this specific coaching session with this client, because as we were talking through, well, what is it about the bread that you love? And as we were having our conversation, he realized that his mom served bread with every meal as a kid. And that's it. So in a way, it was like a comfort thing for him because he had that connection to his mom. And then that aha moment was like, I don't even like bread. Like, why am I still eating it? And
Uh,
so I will always, always, always remember that about this particular client, because it was just such a profound aha moment for him that he was like, hold on, wait a minute. Okay, I get it now. And then he just stopped eating bread because he, really improving his health, was way more important than eating the bread with every single meal. I'm not saying bread is bad for everyone. That's not the point of the story here. The point of the story is that he that's what he realized. That's what he learned about himself. And I feel like you're right that we don't focus enough on the why, and like, what would your life look like if it was different? What would your life look like if you weren't smoking? What would your life look like if you were the healthiest version of yourself? So yeah, and I love that how hypnotherapy is in a way like the interim between like working with a therapist and then maybe like a health and fitness coach to help you actually program the workouts. you know Hypnotherapy really helps you dive deep into the why and really visualizing, just sending your subconscious a new message, basically.
hmm Yeah, and a lot of people have different cravings and things like that that they feel are just controlling them, and we can help them release those cravings. And it's really kind of, amazing, I think, to go through the experience of how your subconscious can release things when you're in a very relaxed and focused state. And I remember when I first went through it, I was more interested in hypnotherapy for hypnotherapy. Um, but when I tried it, they're like, what do you want to work on? So I was like, weight loss. And darned if she didn't pull the cravings for sweets out of me.
Mm,
It shocked the heck out of me. And I like realized it a couple weeks later. But because of other issues, like, oh, my daughter's birthday's coming up and I
mhm,
cake and I'm going to have a nice dinner, and then the holidays and things like that. I gradually consciously talked myself out of it again. So there's always going to be that partnership where we can work on all kinds of things in that session, but you have to also understand that every night when you drift off to sleep, whatever you're thinking about is also still programming you.
mhm,
So you want to make sure that as thoughts come up that don't support the belief that you want, that you acknowledge them and let them go. Bring them up at your next session, because maybe you've got some new insight into a piece of the puzzle that we can also let go of. Like, me be concerned that I've got to make my daughter a birthday cake.
mhm,
So you can keep track of where you are and what you're experiencing, what's changing for you, what's working for you, what's not working for you. And then at night when you drift off to sleep, what you really want to do is you really want to think, this is the experience I'm in now, because you're not telling your subconscious what you wish would happen. You want to put it in terms that as if it's happening now, so that your subconscious
mhm.
understands it is happening now, because tomorrow never comes. You say,
Right.
someday
Yep.
I want this, then you're just teaching your subconscious there's something you want, as opposed to
Mhm.
I'm eating healthy and I'm exercising and I'm calm and confident and relaxed, and I'm feeling focused and ready to do that presentation tomorrow, or go for that job interview, or take that flight, or whatever it may be that has been a concern or an obstacle for you in the past, or created some discomfort in some way, you want to think as positively about it as if it's happening now. And then as we go through sessions, I really listen to what people say too about what resonates with them and what doesn't. So if I'm going to create a metaphor, I don't want to create a metaphor of you going down into a basement in an elevator. If you're afraid of elevators and enclosed spaces, I might do that for somebody else if we're just going to leave behind the things they don't want to experience, or the old memories that don't serve them any purpose, that are no longer needed or valued in some way. So, maybe some people really enjoy metaphors related to nature. Maybe they don't. So some people like certain words. Some words are triggers for them. A great example is the word relax is a trigger for some people. Other people are perfectly fine with it. But that's a word I would tend to use. But if someone's like, no, that's what my husband says to me when I'm upset, that's not a great word to use.
Yeah, man, I get that. For me personally, I definitely have had challenges with anxiety and depression. Not so much the depression now, but definitely some anxiety. I mean, I've definitely worked to mitigate it and manage it more efficiently. But there are some days when I have a hard time relaxing, where I'm like, I can't relax. I just have to be going, 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 going. And I actually noticed it this morning. I did a boot camp workout, and this boot camp is brand new to me. And one of the coaches was like, when I was doing some of the movements, you're using your shoulders more, you're tensing up, relax your shoulders, Melissa. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like I always feel tense, in my shoulders, and that's the anxiety. I can't relax. I can't, just calm down. And so I totally get how relax can be a trigger word for a lot of people.
Right, right. So that's a good example of, people have anxiety, and we do a lot of work. I particularly do a lot of work with folks who have anxiety, especially these days with the whole COVID situation and, leaving the house and getting back on track. There's a whole lot of work that people need help with there. And honestly, the really nice thing about hypnotherapy is if you're having trouble with stress and relaxation and anxiety in particular, you can feel a whole lot better after one session. Just really having that short period of time in hypnosis where you're completely relaxed is so healing for your body and your mind and your spirit, that it just really makes a big difference. So anxiety is a huge thing that a lot of people struggle with. And that's partly because of the way the subconscious is designed to work. So the subconscious is designed so that if you feel threatened in any way, your subconscious is going to really pick up on that. And it's going to send a warning signal to your primitive mind. And that warning signal is going to trigger fight or flight. Well, we're now modern civilized people. Fight and flight are just not going to cut it.
Right.
So those have sort of devolved into anxiety and depression. So the impression instead of escape and the anxiety instead of fight is so socially not acceptable for you to go out and fight somebody when you're feeling triggered. And so you have that residual energy in your body. You don't know what to do with it. And because of the way the subconscious works is anything that ever made you feel threatened is going to trigger that anxiety. And anything that remotely resembles it is going to trigger that anxiety. So we work with people to teach them that when you get that feeling, it's just a signal from your subconscious. It doesn't mean that there's truly an issue. It's just like, hey, be aware. It's just a little warning signal. But sometimes that warning signal can just get really amped up, and we want to bring it down to a manageable level and learn that when we feel it, to just relax, notice what's going on, make sure we're safe, and let it go. And then we anchor in on feeling calm, relaxed, or whatever the person's word is that resonates with them. We can create anchors for them so they can breathe in that calm feeling, that peaceful feeling, whatever it may be, and release that sense of anxiety. So that's something that you can learn and then have it become more automatic for you so that you manage it better. And it's also triggered whenever you're in a new situation. And I think like the last couple of years, there's just been one new situation after another.
Oh, yeah.
So at first it made a lot of sense because yes, this really is a threat.
Right.
But then after time goes by and it's now time to, get back out into your normal routine, a lot of people are really struggling with that because it's now become something new. Mm-hmm. And it's something that up until even now is there a risk? And so just learning to do what you can to be safe, acknowledging your feeling, anchoring in that release, that feeling of calm. You've done your homework, you've done what you can to alleviate that anxiety or stress, and then move forward. So that's a huge thing that we work on.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, anxiety is definitely something I know a lot of my clients struggle with as well. Anxiety over food, exercising, and I have some clients who just they either don't want to work out or they just want to work out at home by themselves. Just put on a workout video and I'm good. Because there can be some anxiety about going to, a new situation and, a new place. Yeah. I also feel like it's, we have a couple friends who are still err more on the side of caution with COVID these days, even though things have calmed down and we kind of know what to do and we know a lot more about the virus and there's vaccines out if you choose to get a vaccine. We're so much better off, but then also transitioning out of it I know it's caused some anxiety for some of my clients too, especially people going back to work, going back into the office is what I mean, like going from, okay, I've been working from home the last couple of years and now my company wants me to come back into the office and I don't know about that. I've adjusted to working from home and I know there's a lot of anxiety around that as well.
Yeah, that's true because it's still that nebulous feeling that there's a threat, there's something you can't control out there. And so we can help reduce that feeling, sort of dial it back to a more manageable, comfortable level so that you're aware and your subconscious is letting you know if there's anything to be concerned about, but it's manageable and it's more comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. So if you're willing to share this, I'd love to hear a little bit about what piqued your interest into hypnotherapy. What made you want to become a hypnotherapist?
Oh, ever since I was a kid, I was always so interested in the mind and what the mind could do. And I mean, literally in elementary school, I was reading this book called The Making of a Psychiatrist, and I was going to be a psychiatrist. And I was so determined. But at some point, and I think it was in reading that book, I sort of realized that the emphasis was on dealing with people who were really severely mentally ill. And really, I'm more interested in just normal people and why normal people sometimes can achieve amazing things. And how do they do that? So I was more interested in maybe the research side of things, how things really worked. And that just sort of stayed with me. I always was, very aware of how some people were able to achieve a lot. And then over time, you become more and more aware of like these people just seem to be spinning around in circles, the same obstacle. They could have a
Mm,
wonderful life, but they can't get around certain things that are just creating huge obstacles for them. And it was really kind of sad to watch these kind of situations just spin on for years and years and years. And people never really deal with whatever that obstacle was. But it wasn't a physical obstacle. It was something that was just in their habits that they could not overcome.
mm-hmm,
And then I actually spent most of my adult life in a leadership role. And I went into another profession, and I was a supervisor for over 34 years, something like that. And so that really allowed me to see how people interact. Some people don't get along, some people don't
mm-hmm,
understand each other, people want to be right, they feel threatened if something isn't right, whose fault is it? And in reality, most things came down to a communication issue or a systems issue. So if something falls through the cracks, then let's go back over it, fix the system, but also recognize people are doing their best and people are human and things
mm-hmm,
happen. And once we get past the point where people are human and things can happen, we can focus on better communication and better systems. So over the years, I just really enjoyed being in a leadership role and mentoring people and coaching them to a greater level of professional development. And I just found that really rewarding. So combining that with my interest in how the mind works, I was always on the lookout for opportunities to learn more about it. And
mm-hmm.
the university that I went to learn how to become a hypnotherapist actually offered a lot of self-help classes for free at the time. You can do them on Zoom still.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was able to do them in person, which was really great. And after doing them for so long, the one day the woman who, organized the classes handed me a catalog.
Oh, really?
And I think that particular class I went to was how to how to enjoy success and happiness or something like that. And it
Mm-hmm.
was about a program that they developed called Mental Bank, where you put down all of your accomplishments for the days and all the steps you took towards your goals and good things that happened during the day. And you do that like at night, right when you're drifting off into hypnosis.
Mm-hmm.
And I think 4 days, I was like, that's it. I'm going to school. I'm going to become a hypnotherapist.
Oh, that's so great. Oh, I love it. I love it. It just, yeah. So it sounds like it was just a natural fit for you.
It was. I really enjoy it. It's just such a wonderful opportunity to get to know people on a very
Yeah.
personal level. And then the really wonderful thing about it is that people who come to a hypnotherapist are really ready to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
They may not be ready to make certain specific changes, but they know they want to move forward. So the motivation is there. A lot of them already have experience with like meditation, guided meditation, something like that. Guided meditation feels very similar to hypnosis, at least when you start, but you tend to go deeper. And it's more designed specifically for you because you're creating your session with your client.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's cool. I love that you're interested in psychology as a kid too.
Oh,
As a child. I feel like it's so fascinating to me how like what we're interested in as a child really in one way or another, it may not be that direct way, but in one way or another, it kind of shapes what we do as an adult, for career or work, however you wanna label it. So yeah, that's cool.
yeah, I
And
had my
then,
subscription to Psychology Today, elementary
oh,
school. Yeah, it was kind of funny, but I
that's
really loved it. So,
yeah. I feel like that a lot of people kind of miss the boat with this. And I love how you mentioned that you just saw all these people around you, like not really, essentially not living up to their potential. And it wasn't because of, you know, maybe not necessarily what they were doing or what they weren't doing. It was more of their mindset and what's happening in their subconscious. And I'm a big believer of that as well. That's why I am a big fan of I myself geek out on psychology stuff. I took a master health coaching course in the spring of 2021, and the books that they recommended for the course, all the psychology ones I bought. Like the top two, I was like, that's it. I'm reading these on my free time. Because I'm the same way. But I really feel like people get so, and I share this from personal experience as well, but especially as entrepreneurs, like you're out there, you're marketing, you're doing all the steps, all the things your business coach is telling you to do, and you're not seeing the results. Well, that to me, when you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, you're not seeing results, then there's some sort of disconnect there. And I believe it's a lot of it's that the solution can be found, working with someone like yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, the other thing that I think is important to remember too is these are things that people are not happy about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's great to think that, yeah, you thought you would, be this super successful, perfect person when you reach a certain age in your life. But if you're happy with where you are, then that's what's important. But
Right.
if you're in general struggling with something and you're not happy with how it's going in your life, then that you can really change, because you really don't want to experience what you're experiencing. But
Mm-hmm.
for example, if someone really enjoys smoking and they were to come to me and say, yeah, I'm here because my doctor's been after me about it, my family's been after me about it. Well, how do you feel about it? Well, I really like smoking, but apparently it's a problem for them. We're not really ready to quit smoking.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We may be able to do some work on finding other ways to relax, understanding why you like smoking, being open to the possibility that maybe it's something you can let go of, but we're definitely not at a point where we're ready to quit smoking. But if somebody's really struggling with it because, like, I've developed this cough, I can't stand the way my voice sounds. My parents were smokers and they died young, and they were so unhealthy towards the end of their life. And I see where this is going, and I just don't want to go down that road. It's not what I want, but I can't seem to quit. That's the person that is really ready to quit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear similar things in my health coaching business where my clients will say, "Are you gonna make me, like, bread is the big one, like, are you gonna make me stop eating bread?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna make you stop eating anything, you know." And it's really up to you what you want to do. Some people, still love having their sodas, and that's great. If it makes you happy, it brings you joy, then I say go for it and keep doing it if it's still something that you enjoy. So,
Yeah, a lot of it is just about growth, right? So if you're
mhm,
at one point and you are making progress that is good for you, that's healthy for you, then that's where you want to be. And then maybe in 6 months to a year, they may be like, you know what, this soft drink, now that other aspects of my life are so healthy, is starting to taste sort of gross, and I'm
mhm,
really beginning to notice how I feel after I
yep,
drink it is not that great.
yep,
It may be something that they just need more time to get there for that particular thing, but in general, they're taking other steps. It's a journey. And for some people who come to see me, I'm the first step on that journey. And for other people, I'll be the step that really makes the difference. And
mhm,
some people will need to come in and just have that experience where it's like, okay, now I'm beginning to understand where I am. And literally there will be people who'll be like, I never learned to relax before.
mhm.
So for them, that's a huge first step.
Yeah, I definitely need to learn how to relax. So, yeah. Anyway, so do you have a specific, I know we've talked a lot about like weight loss and smoking and anxiety. Do you have a specific area that you feel that you are an expert in when it comes to
Oh,
hypnotherapy?
I really feel very strongly about working with people on their anxiety. That can
Hmm.
cause so many problems. I mean, there's people that could not leave their house, literally could not leave their house. I also think
Hmm.
a really important thing that people can work on in hypnosis that I try to make a priority is sleep.
Mm, yes, 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 yes.
Sleep is so important because of the things that we talked about earlier. You need to go through those three stages of dreaming at night to process your day and release what no longer
Hmm.
serves you, and to be well rested and let go of stress and obstacles. But you also need that sleep so that you will have the willpower to do the things that you want to do. And I'm sure that you probably find that a lot of people who really struggle with a poor diet and lack of exercise also have a sleep problem.
Hmm. Yep, yep, definitely.
Because you're not going to have the willpower the next day. You're going to need that donut and coffee. Not that coffee is bad, but you're going to need the caffeine plus sugar.
Right.
And then
Hmm.
you're going to go through that whole cycle with the crash of sugar and all that. So I always try to like deal with sleep early on. If someone lets me know they're having difficulty with sleeping or not really allowing enough time to sleep, I try to really make that a priority because I think that's the foundation for the other work. And then I also, surprisingly enough, feel like I do a lot of relationship work and healthy boundaries.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get into routines and how they deal with the people in their lives. And that's all learned as you're growing up. You're learning how to deal with your parents, how
Hmm.
to, you know, because you rely on your mother to survive. So you watch your father, I'm saying mother and father, I'm really talking about your primary caregiver and your
Hmm.
secondary caregiver. So you rely on your primary caregiver. So you watch your secondary caregiver to see how they relate to your primary caregiver. So many people's personalities will be very similar to that secondary caregiver.
Yeah.
But it all happens without you even knowing it's happening. So you learn the same coping mechanisms, your triggers, all the things that affect the way you deal with people. Um, are just what came in a very natural and spontaneous way. People learned from the people before them and the people before them. So everybody has a different set of um, coping mechanisms and ways to interact with people. And, some of them are not really serving us that well. So I do a lot of work with people who have relationship issues to help them understand different personalities on the spectrum in terms of like some people are more heart-centered and some people are more mind-centered. And they
Hmm.
have different aspects of those personalities, but opposites attract. We don't always
Yes.
understand each other.
Oh, yes. Yeah, opposites definitely do attract. Yeah, I've always said that I've always worked um, in some sort of sales or customer service, and I feel like the biggest challenge isn't the job itself. Like my biggest challenge in insurance when I was working in the insurance industry was not learning the insurance laws and how to like navigate a specific insurance company's underwriting guidelines. It was dealing with the people, the coworkers, the underwriters themselves, the clients, because we're so complicated and we've had, different upbringings and we've developed these different relationship skills through our childhoods, and like you said, not knowing, like we don't even know it's happening, but it's happening. We're not aware that it's happening, but it is happening, and then that follows us into adulthood. Um, yeah, I always like my husband and I will always give him a hard time, and he's like, I don't know, just kind of trying to be like silly with me or whatever. And then we'll go to his parents' house and his stepdad will be like doing the same thing to his mom. And like now I'm used to it. I pretty much know all the where he gets all this from. But in the beginning, I was like, now I get it. You got this from John. I
Uh-huh.
know now I know why you harass me. He doesn't really harass me, but in a playful way. Now I know I get it because you learned that from John, from your stepdad, and thankfully there's a lot of really, good things that, we have both, you know, absorbed from our childhoods. But yeah, I'm totally fan. I also really truly believe that if because one big objection I hear, especially from women, my female clients, is I don't want to make these changes. I don't want to or cook a healthy meal because my husband won't eat it, or my kids won't eat it, or my partner won't eat it, or my roommate won't eat it. And really coaching them on how to communicate and just build a better relationship with their partners or whoever they're living with, can make a big difference because they oftentimes use that as a reason
Right, right.
not to do something. And that's to no fault of their own. It's just, that's just how um that's just how they operate. That's how what they were taught.
Right. It's hard to make yourself a priority. And, that's one of the obstacles is, dealing with the other people in your life. And, they may be fine with it, but they're not necessarily going to say it, or they may only have a problem with like every third or fourth meal that you cook that's
Mhm.
healthier. Um, and that's, I guess, where having a health coach and someone there to support you as you go through the process is so important. You need somebody who can really understand where you're coming from and reinforce that what you're doing is the right thing for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love that you work with people, you know, building stronger relationships, and the boundaries too. The boundaries are big, you
Right.
know.
Yeah, you have a great point about that. They need to express to their families that this is what I need.
Hmm.
This is how I need to be treated. I need you to work with me on the diet. And if I'm going to be dieting, I need you to be supportive of that.
Right. Yep. I just wrote an like a short little blog post on this exact topic recently. But anyways, but yeah, so back to you. Is there anything else you want to share with us about hypnotherapy?
Well, let's see. It really applies to a lot of things that we haven't talked about. Fears and phobias. A lot of people are afraid to fly, they're afraid of public speaking. Um, Actually, people more afraid of public speaking than they are of death. It's
Whoa, I did not know that was true, but now that I think about it, I believe that.
right. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
and a lot of times there'll be an experience in the past that did not go well for them that they're kind of hanging on to, and they're getting that little signal that, yeah, this isn't good. This is too similar to that other situation. But we can help them release that. Fear of flying is something that um, this hypnotherapy really helps people with that. Driving anxiety, childbirth, just learning how
Mm,
to get yourself into that very relaxed state of hypnosis. Natural hypnosis can really help women experience childbirth in a more comfortable way. So that's a very common use of it. I also do past life regressions. We never talked about that, but
Oh, that's fascinating. That's cool.
yeah, yeah, they really are. And that was one of the things that I actually, my first formal experience with hypnotherapy was with Dr. Brian Weiss, who wrote the book Many Lives, Many Masters. And that is a fascinating read. It's actually a pretty quick read. He was a psychiatrist, and he only resorted to using hypnosis with therapy for a patient who was afraid to take medication. He was actually an expert in medication use for psychiatric purposes. So he now tours the world,
Ah,
holding sessions, or he did it before COVID anyway, holding presentations and doing group sessions and hypnosis and past life regression. So that can be a very enlightening experience. However you want to take it, if you want to take it as something your subconscious just cooked up for you, or if it means something more to you. Most cultures, actually, most religions have a tradition of past life beliefs. So yeah, that's very interesting as well.
I'm gonna definitely check that book out because I
Oh,
am, yeah, I've always been very curious about that. So, um, yeah, there was a female business owner on a podcast I listened to. I can't remember which female podcast it was, but and she talked about that, like the solution to one of her health issues came to her in a dream from one of her ancestors. So I know this isn't the past life, but came to her from one of her ancestors, and I was like, that's weird. At first, I was like, that's weird, that's strange. But then it's actually been kind of. I actually had someone bring it up last week too in a conversation. Like past life and ancestor. Having solutions come from our ancestors and everything. So
yeah. There's some belief that wounds in past lives can carry forward into pain and wounds in this life. One of the things that Dr. Weiss would say is people with asthma oftentimes died in a fire in a past life. So there's a lot of information about that. Um, I think the other thing is too is that it gives you a different scale. Like when you think in terms of you have one life to live, that puts a lot of pressure on you in this life.
yes. Oh my gosh. I think about that almost daily. Yeah. What am I doing with my life?
Right. But if you think of, okay, you've had an endless number of lives over the course of time. And if it takes you, the reality is that we all know that there are things that we have an intrinsic understanding of, like, you just don't do that. It's just a bad idea. And then we'll see other people do it, and we won't understand how they won't realize that it's a problem. But, maybe we're talking old souls versus young souls here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's this, comments I've read too about, like, it may have taken someone may not be a very great person. But, in the last 500 years, they managed to get over jealousy.
Yeah. Oh,
So we're
that's
all
funny. Yeah.
a work in progress.
Yes. Yeah. Regardless of which life we're in, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's also different ideas about what your purpose is in this life and what experience you wanted to have in this life. And, not every experience we have is going to be ideal.
Mm-hmm.
It's really more about how we manage those experiences and what we take from those experiences at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So we also work
Mm.
with people that, inner child work for inner child
Mm.
healing, um, trauma to a certain extent. If somebody has serious post-traumatic syndrome, then uh, they they probably should be working. They definitely should be working with a psychiatrist or a licensed psychotherapist or
Mm-hmm.
someone of that nature. But I can also work in conjunction with that,
Hmm.
chronic pain. A lot of people experience chronic pain. So as long as they're working with a medical professional, I can help them reduce that pain. A lot of pain is just caused by tension and stress, right? And there's studies that show that 60% of pain is subjective. So you may have a medical issue that's being treated, and you may still be experiencing pain or discomfort. And we can help you relax and release that and control it, manage it better. Just like for a woman in childbirth, being able to relax and get in control of it, and in a sense, take yourself into natural hypnosis helps really greatly improve her comfort level and her
Hmm.
experience. And we can help people with chronic pain issues in that respect as well. So there's a lot of different modalities and things that you can do with hypnotherapy, because if it resides in your subconscious and you need some help with it, we can help with that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love the idea of having like a team of professionals on your side there to support you. So you have the medical professionals, whether that be an MD or, like you said, a licensed, psychotherapist to help you through the PTSD, and then you're there to help them relax and utilize hypnotherapy to help them. So it's in my eyes, it's never you go to just one expert and that's it. Everything's going to be fixed. I'm a big proponent of having a team to, to help people.
Right. I agree. So
Yeah.
if someone is wanting to improve their health and they're working with you as a health coach, and they're having issues with certain obstacles or cravings or whatever, then the hypnotherapist could help them with that. But I'm not going to go out to the gym with them and train them.
Why not? No.
I know,
Yeah.
it would be great. Yeah.
Well, I definitely would not try hypnotherapy on someone, but it's good to know that I have someone I trust to refer them to. And I think I've said this to you before, Cindy, but you have such a soothing voice that I can only imagine like how easy it is to relax for someone like me who's like high anxiety, kind of type A, and through in a hypnotherapy session. Because really having that soothing, calming voice, it just makes like a world of difference.
Oh, thank you for
So
saying that.
yeah, of
You know,
course.
you are so enthused. And you're you're really in the perfect situation too, because you know your enthusiasm and your energy, I think, really supports your clients who are ready to make that change and get out there and get fit and healthy.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I'm sure they love that about you.
Oh, thank you. That's what I've heard. Yes. That's the rumor going around. So yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's definitely I'm not sure if you're this is kind of off topic, but since you brought it up, are you familiar with the book The Big Leap? It's
No, I haven't heard
okay.
of it.
Gay Hendricks is the author, and anyways, he talks about really working in your zone of genius. Like not just working, but also living in your zone of genius. So I also feel like I know I said it has nothing to do with this, but it may also be beneficial for anyone who is like working with you in hypnotherapy and is just kind of knows something is not quite clicking, and knows that something's just not right. But really, just living in your zone of genius, not just like really like what are you really good at and how to apply that to your life? Because oftentimes I feel like we don't know that. We don't know what that is. So
Mhm.
that also can kind of hold us back in a way, in a big way, where if we were not aware of what's happening subconsciously, I won't say anymore because I can go on for hours and hours about this topic, but really just learning how to live in your zone of genius. So, you know, doing what you do as a hypnotherapist or a calming, soothing voice, you have that ability to help people, you know, really building relationships and being enthusiastic, I feel like is, you know, my zone of genius. But anyways, yeah.
Well, that's a good point too, because a lot of people, especially young people, are really struggling right now because, in a way, the world was put on hold right at a time where so
Yeah.
many of them needed to make a transition that is tough to make anyway, because you really don't know where you want to go. And then to have it sort of be put in this odd sort of on hold thing, this whole COVID thing has been harder for them than most people who already had a process, were already in the career world, already knew what they were all about, and had their lives flowing in a way that was working for them. They've really struggled with it.
Yeah.
And so sometimes they do need to allow their subconscious to bring up inspiration for them. The mental bank that I mentioned earlier, that's something
Mhm.
that I can work with clients on as well, to really, focus in on what you want to achieve. But your subconscious can provide inspiration, and we can use imagery work to take subconscious journeys to find inspiration for questions like, what is my area of interest, or why do I struggle with this, or what would be a good direction for me to take if I had these options that um, I don't really know which way to turn, right?
Hmm.
So there are hypnotic journeys that we can do to allow you to bring up some deeper feelings about things and be inspired by those. So that's always, a lot of this stuff is just, it's such a privilege to be a part of people's experiences
Hmm.
as they go through these different things.
Yeah, I'm sure you. I mean, I feel like we're both in the transformation business, you know, the business of helping people transform their lives, and there's nothing more satisfying to me than helping someone, you know, be the best and healthiest version of themselves.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. They're so
Yeah.
fortunate to have you there to support them.
Oh, well, and same to you as well, you know, your clients as well. So, great. Is there anything else before we wrap up you want to share, Cindy?
No, I think that's probably good.
Awesome. Cool. Well, where can people find you?
I have a website, cindyhypnosis.com. That's CINDYHYPNOSIS.com. And you can reach out to me through my website, and I'll get in touch with you. And I usually start with just a phone call where we
Mhm.
get to know each other, find out what people want to work on, and talk about how hypnotherapy works and how the conscious mind and subconscious can work together, and then see if it's a good fit, if we're a good fit for each other, and then we go from there. So even that process, I think people learn more about themselves, and
Mhm.
I think even just the phone call is worth it.
Yeah, I definitely agree 100%. So cool. I'll make sure to put that also in the show notes so people know exactly. They could just click on a link and I'll send them directly there. So I have one more question that I like to ask. So, what do you think of when you hear the words wellness abundance?
I think that feels really fulfilling,
Hmm.
and and satisfying. Just it's a really good feeling, I think. And I think being well is so critical to your well-being. Your whole life
Hmm.
is based on that. And I think a lot of people don't appreciate it until they find it slipping away. And then when they retrieve it, when they get that healthy feeling back, it means that much more to them.
Yeah, definitely agree. Awesome. I love it. Okay, Cindy. Well, thanks so much for your time, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
That would be great.
The Wellness Abundance podcast is sponsored by Wellness Abundance Coaching. At Wellness Abundance Coaching, we help women lose weight effortlessly and minimize anxiety with clarity, empowerment, and flexibility. We offer one-on-one and group health coaching, corporate wellness programs, and on-demand fitness videos. To learn more about how we can help you become the healthiest version of yourself and to schedule a time to chat with us, visit melissaking.net.